the death that shook the entire country, I decided to step up as a community activist and create a global podcast, Woke by Accident. Here, I amplify compelling news stories and matters impacting African Americans and their communities. My goal is to give a voice to the voiceless and have the difficult conversations needed to advance relations and matters of race. Tune in to Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen, and it is streaming on all of your favorite streaming platforms, as well as our website, www.wokebyaccident.net. Thank you for listening and take care.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. Today we have a special guest, Trey Styles, author of Black Boy Arise from the great city of Detroit. He is working on, or he has recently completed his next novel, and he'll share more about that. He graciously agreed to co-host the show today. Welcome, Trey.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back.
Definitely. I'm glad to have you on for today's topic, which will be the power of connection, building a supportive network in times of loss. And so, life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges our way. And sometimes it's important to hit pause and address difficult moments head on. Today, I want to open up about a profound loss I experienced. Some of you may know I recently lost my mother, and podcasting has been really important to me. It's definitely been a labor of love, a creative outlet where I pour my heart and soul into every episode. So losing someone can impact our ability to create, and I wanted to share this with someone who can relate, and has experienced loss. So we'll talk about this today, and how important it is to have a supportive network to get you through these types of experiences so that you can get back to creating or whatever your passions are. So, additionally, we'll talk about how grief can influence the creative process and how to navigate the balance of mourning and creating that content like we talked about. So, I will pivot over to you, try to share on how important, having a supported network when you experience a loss can be.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, I appreciate you for having me. Having a supportive network when you deal with a loss is indispensable.
Mhm.
I've had countless losses in my family from childhood to now. Every year since about the year 1995, I had a death in my family.
Wow.
And, I've had death occur in my family from every possible way, from disease, to drug use, to murder. So I was, experienced it across the board. And I can tell you personally, it's never easy to deal with. I just sometimes look at some of the people I lost, and sometimes I look at a picture of them, and it's just like, I can't believe this person is not even here no more. Like, this is all I got of them. I can't talk to them. I can't see them, touch them, laugh with them. None of that. And that's like the harsh reality. That's the most painful thing about it. Like, you looking at your people on pictures, like, man, this is my people, and this person is not here no more. I can never see or talk to this person again. Like, and
Right.
depending on your beliefs, you don't know if you ever see them again ever again in life, because everybody don't believe in heaven or life or hereafter, life after
Mm.
death. Everybody doesn't believe that. We all got different beliefs, and so that's the harsh thing about it. Some people say, yeah, the memories are great. Yeah, the memories are great. They definitely are great, but it's hard knowing that they're gone. I'll take you back to the first funeral I ever went to. I was actually 5 years old. It was actually my little cousin, who was actually a little baby. He was actually a little
Mhm.
baby when he died. He was like a couple months old.
Oh,
And I
wow.
remember walking up to the casket with my mom, and I asked my mom, I said, Mom, who is that? Basically, she was like, that's your little cousin. Anton. That was his name, right? So It's weird because that was 95, and I look at today. Today he'll be a grown man now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
He'll be a grown man now. We never know what he would have been like. You never know,
right.
and that's something you'll never know. And I remember that. And but as a 5 year old, I didn't understand death like that. I didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
that really meant. But subsequent deaths after that, I understood that. I mean that I wasn't gonna see them no more. Now, the one for me personally, like that really, really was the most painful in the earliest part of my life was when I was 10 years old. My maternal grandmother passed,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, anybody who know who had those real big mamas, it's like, it's like when you had them, you feel like nothing in the world. When I used to sit in her arms, she used to hold me in her lap and put her chin on my head and rock with me real soft. I felt like nothing in the world could do harm me. Even when I was
Mm-hmm.
acting up on my mama, I run to her because I know my mama was gonna do nothing. My grandma. You just felt it was like a
Right.
safe haven. But I just remember the knock on the door and my uncle coming telling my mom that my grandma had transition. And of course, she
Mm-hmm.
was deeply hurt. We all were hurt, and I was more so in shock. And I didn't realize how real it was until the day of the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the kids that was lucky enough to actually ride in the car with my uncles, aunties, and my mama when we was on our way to the funeral.
Yeah.
I just remember how their faces looked. I remember my uncle saying, "It's the last ride," just saying that, and I just remember that. And I remember still to this day, her church building still stands. Nobody, it's not open now, but I still drive by there, and I still remember that going there.
Mm-hmm.
But we walked in there. It felt like that was the longest walk in my life. It felt like the church was humongous, but it wasn't really that big. And I remember us
Mm-hmm.
walking. I remember us turning down the aisle, and I looked all the way down the aisle. It seemed so far away, and I kind of saw her up there, but it was far away. It was far away. I just knew somebody was up there, but I didn't know exactly who it was. And each step I took, I got closer and closer. And then I got closer and closer. And I got closer and closer, and I was able to see it was actually my grandma up there. And like I knew what death meant by that time. And
Mm-hmm.
what stuck out to me the most was like just to see her laying up there, her hands across her hands, like kind of across like the navel, and how still she was. Her stomach wasn't moving up and down. There was no moving and all, and she was just still. And I realized
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my grandma is actually dead. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that just like was hard for me to deal with. There's a lot of grandkids. I was crying and I cried, and I just remember just being there and looking like, well, like, is this real? And that was the year
Mm-hmm.
1999, and it just seemed like from there, you know, uh, that was like I would say like the end of my childhood. Despite seeing all kind of stuff the first 10 years of my life, despite hearing gunshots, fights, verbal abuse, physical abuse. When that death hit, the matriarch of our family, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it was like it was devastating. I was like, I can't believe my grandma's really dead. I still remember the next day after the funeral, my mom pulled up to my grandma's house, and then my auntie was on the porch. She said, I came. She's like, I woke up this morning and I cried so hard when I realized that Mama was gone because it was different. Like when people would pass away, right after they pass away before the funeral, you start seeing everybody checking
Mm-hmm.
up, and everybody laughing, the repast. But the reality really strikes you the day after the funeral when you ain't
Mm-hmm.
getting this many calls and people aren't coming over no more, and you got to sit there and you got to deal with that, and you got to sit with your pain. And I just remember that, and
Right.
just really stuck out to me. So that was like the first one that like the most painful. And of course, it hurt to lose my little cousin, but I didn't understand death like that. I was only 5,
Mm-hmm.
but 5 years later, at 10, I understood it. And so that was very, very devastating. It was weird going over there. The neighborhood was never the same. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the, the reality is, you actually see the picture of my new novel that'll be coming out soon. That's the neighborhood that we're from. That's the
Mm.
same. That's that block we're on. The pictures on. That's my old neighborhood. That's where we're from. That's
Okay.
where I live. So it always will have, uh, you know, a special place in my heart because that's where I'm from. But just
Nice.
remember that, and that just tore me up inside though. So that was like real hard to deal with. And I remember going to the funeral. My mama told me, Mama said, never look back when you're leaving from the cemetery or to make it hard on you. She
Mm-hmm.
told me that, and that's exactly what I did. I looked back, and that was real hard on all of us. It was really hard on me knowing that my grandma was. had passed on.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. That was very, personal. So I do appreciate you sharing that. And I guess looking back, the closest person I lost to me would probably be my grandmother on my father's side, who actually was not extremely close to. I had a relationship with her, but and I was in college when she passed away,
Yeah,
and so yeah, so but I don't know, just being older, experiencing deaths like that made me process it differently. And then next, I lost my dad in 2016. And so that was, really hard because I'm just seeing how it impacted my mother. And sometimes I feel like, my mother never really got over my father's passing, even though that was 2016, this is 2024. Because she just kind of dealt with it her own way and not getting, talking to anyone or getting counseling like, Black people should.
right.
We just kind of tuck those feelings and deal with it our own way. Um, and so I feel like that was kind of going on in the background. And then this illness kind of became, took over her, really quickly. And she had got over one illness and then this illness. And I got to, or I was part of the caregiving for her while she was dealing with this illness that, eventually became prevalent and, um, with her downfall. And so it's just different when you are part of the caregiving and you have that hope that, okay, she could possibly get better. You see other people get better, you see other people go to treatment, maybe she'll get better. And then some people process it differently, like she's not going to get any better, and you see these doctors tell you like she's not getting any better, and it's just like, what am I supposed to do with that? You know what I mean? Like, okay,
Yeah,
she's still here, but you're treating, I don't like, that was hard for me, dealing with her, caring for her, and being, wanting to give her the best care possible because she is right here in front of me to give that care to her. But then you have these doctors and other health professionals tell you she's not going to get any better, or what are you fighting for? Like, I had one lady, she's a Black lady too, tell me, why are you fighting so hard? What are you fighting? And I'm like, are you serious, lady? Like, I couldn't believe she was saying that. Like, it was clear to me what we were fighting for. I'm fighting for my mother. I want her to be here. What are you talking about? But she was saying like I should basically just give up, and so that's a whole another thing. You know what I mean? Like, I one of my good
that was harsh
I
for me.
yeah, and so we've and I'm a part of a podcast collective. Shout out to the C4, who has definitely been a rock in my supportive network, which we'll talk about in a second. One of the brothers is a caregiver to his mother, and so kind of knows what going through with these kind of conversations and things you have to deal with. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a whole other, that part was just really almost kind of as doubting or hard than dealing with the loss of just, dealing with people basically trying to put your person in the ground before they're in the ground. Like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen, but you know, I,
Oh yeah.
I don't
I,
know.
I I understand 100% because like that to me that's harsh. Of course, like you actually held your composure better than most because some people probably would have fought that health professional. No, seriously, like I know people who
Yeah.
actually probably tried to fight her. What you mean? What I'm fighting for? I've worked at the hospital before.
Hmm.
I've seen people in a room crying. I worked at a children's hospital. I worked at an adult hospital, different hospital. I've seen people find out their baby got brain cancer. I seen them in there screaming and crying, and I just felt for them.
Hmm.
I think a lot of times some people, depending on what happened in their life, they may not understand. May never had a mother like you. They
Yeah.
may never had somebody who loved them. And sometimes some people don't have compassion. They don't know how to show it. Some people in their life get the best of them. Life ain't got the best of them, and they lost their humanness. And to me, when you lose your humanness, you done lost your life essentially. You're like the Walking Dead. And the thing is, I think with a lot of health professionals, A lot of them sometimes, to me, of course, I have my views on the industry, how some of them just interested in science, some of them
Mhm.
just interested in making money and your insurance and things of that nature. And
Mhm.
then some of them are numb because they saw so many people die. Some of them
Yeah.
might be just actually numb to it. I have a friend that's a physician, and he hasn't become numb to it. He said, "Yeah, I do deal with a lot of people that's dying and all that."
Mhm.
And I can say from my personal experience, I've lost so many people that I'm still not numb to it. I'm still not numb to it, but I can say that I kind of accept it as a reality of life now. Like,
I I can understand that.
yeah, I've kind of accepted it as a reality of life. I know eventually we all going to go. I hate early morning calls. I hate early morning
Mhm.
calls, no matter what it is. I hate early morning texts. When I mean early mornings, I mean like the wee hours of the morning.
Yes, I know
Like,
exactly what you're
like
talking
from
about.
let's say like from that 1 to 5 a.m. That
Yes.
time, it's I've had too many two calls that was painful. Like I said, like I could talk to you like, and then recently like I lost my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, 2.5 years ago,
Mhm.
and I was equally close to both of my grandmothers, and they lived
Mm.
right around the corner from each other, like the whole
Wow.
black families did. So when I act
Yeah.
up with one of them, I go to the other one, hide out over there. So it was a great time because neither one of my grandmas are, to me, are more special than the other. They're equally special.
Mm.
Even though I had one for 10 years, and I had one for what was that 2020? I had one for 32 years.
Mhm.
Neither one is more special than others. I love them both dearly. I was equally close to both of them. I was a little more closer to my dad's mother as a little kid because she let me get away with murder. She would let me do anything. I mean, she even let me
Mhm.
drive my power wheel in her house. And her, my, her, and my grandma became friends because of me. And then my mama's mom who passed, and I was saying was a little more stern, a little more mean, a little bit. But she was sweet
Yeah.
too. She was over like, you get off that power wheel in this house. You don't drive no power wheel in the house. And I like I didn't hear. I like I didn't hear it because my grandma let me do anything. My paternal grandma. But
Mhm.
the thing that was so painful is like it was like both of them was so painful. Now the difference is like the 10, when I was seeing that was like the reality struck. Now, when my grandma got COVID when I was 32, we called her at the same place and time. Like
Mm.
I still remember us having our last meeting. We was laughing and joking, and it was fun. I was sick. She wasn't sick. Because I got sick
Mhm.
walking into their house, and I
Oh,
never
did
called it.
you?
Yes, we called it at the same place.
Wow.
So that really hurts. And I tried to keep her so strong through COVID. She had survived 2020, which was crazy.
Mhm.
And then it was late 2021, November, and I just moved into my new spot or whatever. And I just remember us having a good time, laughing and joking. Little time I was over there, I said, "Grandma, I gotta get out because I don't like being sick." Never thought that that would be the last time I see her because I was down a little bit from COVID for 3 weeks, and she passed. My mom was trying to encourage me, even though she wasn't my mama's biological mama, she was my mama's other mama. You know,
Okay.
because they stayed close. Despite her and my dad breaking up early in my life. So
Mm.
my grandma that passed, my paternal grandma, was just like my mama's other mama. They was that tight, and that's always a beautiful thing right there. And,
Definitely.
and I remember my mom was trying to encourage me around the Thanksgiving time. She's like, "Yeah, it might do." I said, "Ma, I kind of accepted the reality that when my grandma called that she's not gonna make it out of it. But she was an older woman. I had accepted that. I was like, she was trying to say, no, it might not be. I said, no, no. I said, I ain't putting death on my grandma. I just know. I just knew because I had a feeling like it was so weird. Like I said, I'm a very spiritual person, and I love that, and sometimes I hate it because I see things, I feel things that other people can't see, and some people think like, oh, you think you're psychic? No, I know I'm not a psychic, but I don't know what it is that has blessed me with spiritual eyes that I can see things and feel things ahead of time. Before my grandma passed, I was about to move into my new place. 3 weeks before that, I got weird calls in my dream, like for like a whole week straight. A whole week straight, I would be dreaming, and I would be dreaming, and in my dream, my phone would be ringing. My cell phone would be ringing in my dream, and then I wake up in real life, and I reach for my cell phone, and I realize I was dreaming. So it did
Mm.
that for like a whole week straight, and then it did it for the next 2 weeks, like a couple times during the week. And I did my research, like, what does that mean? They said like it's when some like I was doing different research on just searching, on Google and
Yeah.
stuff. They said like when some bad about to happen or some like a new you know, a crazy thing was about to happen in your life or something. Like it was preparing me for something. I didn't know what, but I knew something was
Mm-hmm.
about to happen. I knew something was about to happen, like something like tragic and something. It was just about to happen. Then I had a dream where I was dreaming and the world blew up. You know what I'm saying? And it was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like the world actually blew up. I'm like, man, what's going on? And I told my mama about this. And I'm gonna bring it around because I'm not pressed for time, but I'm gonna bring it around to you. And I'm gonna say like, and then that happens to my grandmother. I still
Mm-hmm.
remember, you know, with my cousin who I grew up with, was more like a sibling. I was working at Children's Hospital in the city of Detroit, and I was working a midnight shift. And I got a page. We would carry pagers. I got a page on my phone to pick up a patient, and and a person's birthday that I was picking up, the patient I was picking up was May 21st, 1999. That's the day my grandma died. So when I saw that, a eerie feeling like a chill went through my spine, and like oh shit. Excuse the expression, like what's about to happen, and I just felt weird that whole rest of that whole night, and then I told my mom what I saw, and she's like, yeah, because she told me like before, don't judge. She told me before, like when you be having those dreams, you let me know so I can play them numbers, like that talking to the dead and stuff like that. You know how they play with them lotteries, the numbers, how the old folks used to do it. And I was like, yeah, I'll let you know. So I told her, and I just still remember that day. And then we talked, we laughed,
Wow.
and I got her tickets to see Anthony Hamilton and Fantasia when they came to Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and she was taking my auntie with her. And so, I think none of it. We talked that day. I go home, prepare to get up in the morning, after I get off work that early from that midnight shift that day. I wake up in the morning, I had left my phone with the charger. I had left my charger in my car. So I went out, and it was like one of those weird long mornings. It was raining. Then I went in the house and laid down for a minute. I charged my phone up, and I woke up. And yeah, the first thing I opened, I just checked out Facebook, at the time I was. And then as soon as I'm reading the Facebook, I'm scrolling. And I see one of my cousins saying RIP to my cousin.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, this can't be real. That was like, that was just so shocking to me because this was my cousin, like same age as me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
ended up dying from a diabetic coma.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I'm like, damn, I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, we supposed to grow old together. Never
Mm-hmm.
did I think that she would be leaving this earth at 27 years old. Like,
Wow.
that was just crazy to me. And then 8 months later, that same year, it was 2016. I remember the same year your father passed, 2016. Same year
Mm-hmm.
she passed. 8 months later, I remember my cousin coming into the party we was doing for my auntie, who's actually who's actually the mother of my cousin that passed, my girl cousin that passed earlier. And we was at her party, and I remember walking in, and I remember one of my cousins walking in. He walked in with his friends, and I remember looking at him. It was weird. I was just looking at him. For some reason, I was just looking at him, and he walked like right by me. He was very close and walked right by me, and it's like he didn't even see me. It was weird, and for some reason, I ain't touch. Say, "What's up, cuz?" I ain't say nothing. I ain't like, "What up, cuz?" Nothing. He actually didn't see me. He like really walked right through me in the party. Didn't even see me, and I just looked at him, and I left for some reason. I don't know why I didn't say nothing to him, but then I walked to the door, and I just looked back, and I saw him standing right there, and that was the last time I saw him alive because he was
Mm-hmm.
murdered on Christmas. So we found
Wow.
out about that on the wee hours of the morning, and I was like. That was like crazy. And it was crazy because a couple of days before that, my other cousin I was talking to, I was like, man, you got to be careful. I've been trying to tell you, I got to be careful out here in these streets. And it was so weird when I went over to our family house after my cousin, we found out our cousin was murdered on Christmas. And we still trying to get together. As soon as I'm walking in, I'll see my other cousin. It was just weird how we looked at each other because I was just telling him about being careful, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And we just walked by each other, what's up, cousin, and all that. But it was just, yeah, that death is painful, period, but all deaths don't hit the same. Like those two deaths of me,
Yeah.
those like the most shocking. Like my grandma's, of course, like the first one, that was my first reality, you know, of life ending, like understanding life ends and you lose people. And of course, when I lost my other grandma a few years ago, that was extremely painful. But I was grown and I knew death was a part of something. I knew it was a
Right.
natural progression. I knew it was life, especially with they both being older women. But when my two cousins left here, it was crazy because one was 26, one was 27. one from a diabetic coma, one from murder. So that was devastating. But I tell you this, Jen, I've had like counting mama side and daddy side, I've had like actually like 10 people in my family, probably maybe a little bit, they actually got murdered in the streets. So I know how real it is. And
Yeah.
so I say I experienced death from every angle you can expect, and like the best time is really like when you get together and you see your family. I remember when we was kids, we saw each other first cousins, second cousins, third cousins back in the 90s when the big mamas were still around. But out of that, we weren't as close, as we used to be. Just talking about like the whole family. But the only time it was we got together like that was funerals now. And the only time
Mm.
I said was good about that under circumstances that we all were there for each other, during the funeral time. And that's why I say it's so important, like to have people during that time, because
It
you need
is.
you need people, because if you're there by yourself, you probably run yourself crazy. You get to thinking about guilt, the times you acted up on your mom, the times you can give your cousin a couple dollars when they was asking you something. You start thinking about all kind of things like, oh man, if I had just said something to him, oh man, like,
Hmm.
if I had just said something to that day, like don't go out, don't do this, you run yourself crazy. It's like you didn't know that.
Yeah.
You didn't know that. No, none of us know when we all gonna leave here. So even if you did something wrong, it wasn't too bad. You got to forgive yourself, because those people that we lose, sometimes they did things that was wrong to us.
Mm.
So you just gotta forgive yourself. But you do that. You gotta have a
You
community.
do.
You gotta have people you can talk to.
That's true. And I do want to talk about, some ways that, people can deal, and what are ways that you can support someone who is experiencing this as a friend, how you can be supportive to someone who is experiencing bereavement. So this information here comes from the BetterHelp website, which you definitely, you talked about them as a resource that people can tap into for sure. So we definitely want to share that. And we'll put that in the show notes as well. Better Health. Um, but here are a few little thoughts to share. So grief isn't something that you can fix. So it's a natural response to think that when someone is upset, you want to try to fix things for them. Following the death of a loved one, the reality is that you can't fix it. So there's nothing you can say exactly to make the bereaved person feel better about their loss, but there's things that you can provide comfort with. And so one is listening with compassion. Let's see. So that's important to do. Also, you can, if they don't feel like talking, don't push them. Remember that that you are comforting them just by being there. Just sitting together in silence sometimes is help a lot. And I can receive that. Sometimes just a friendly voice or a friendly word is helpful and nice to see when you are dealing with you know the feelings of loss, and then you have to turn around and get business done, and then you still are feeling your feelings, and then you got to get business done, and you still have your feelings that you're dealing with. And so I definitely had my immediate family, sorority members who reached out, my podcast family, shout out again to the C4 who have poured into me, even sent me money. You know what I mean? Just really sweet, kind gestures of encouragement, phone calls, texts, some of these people I haven't even, met in person. Well, some of them I have, and shout out to them. But so a network is crucial and critical to get through this. Your family, someone who has, went through this, reach out to them. If you're not going to, get time to speak with a therapist, speak with someone that you're comfortable with.
Absolutely. Like you gotta have a. We all need a community. No
Hmm.
matter how strong you are, everybody got a boiling point. And everybody got a breaking point. So community is definitely important. I just remember when my grandma passed. a couple of years ago, I just remember some of my cousins just reaching out with the text, because
Yeah.
they know me and they know I didn't want to talk to nobody. Not because, I just had to process that, so they
Right.
text me, it was those little things. And sometimes what you'll really find out is when you go through the death, and tough situations, you'll find out who really cares about you and really who's really your real friend, who's really your real people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like this is like, as harsh as it is, sometimes it's you can find beauty in almost anything. Sometimes, like
Mm-hmm.
the beauty in that is nothing beautiful about losing a person you love. Nothing beautiful about that, I would say. Unless you was in a situation where you felt that your loved one was just in pain and you got tired of them suffering. But other than that, just to see that the people that's there for you, and to see the people that you've been there for, but they're not there for you like that. You know, it's beauty in that because now moving forward, like, okay, I can live a fuller life because now I got people I know that ain't really down for me in my life no more. So you got a clear vision. That's some of the beauty in it because
Mm-hmm.
you'll find out sometimes you think it's somebody who don't care as much about you, and that might be the person that go the hardest for you. Like, damn, like you like, damn, I thought this person all along wasn't really caring about me like this, and this person been there for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
this cousin was there when it was time to party. This cousin was there when it was time to drink and all that. This cousin was there when it was time for that or the gossip. But this
Right.
cousin was there when, you know, I felt like my world had turned upside down. Like this person was there then through through the harsh times. Through the hardest time of my life. And that's when you realize, like, wow, man, this person, is a special person to me. Because you might have their friends or their family members. And I consider my friends family. When you come my friend, you family. I don't make a distinction to me because I know friends that go harder than me from blood than blood relatives. So
Yeah, family is definitely bond and not just blood for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Now I had those
Mm-hmm.
cases where like it's some of them that's blood and it's like okay, they first. You have those cases where it's like mom and dad, or not even just because they mom and dad, but just because that's family. They know they the ones that really believe blood is thicker than water and really live by that. Not the ones who say blood is thicker than water when they're trying to get a couple of dollars out of you, or when they're trying to use you or trying to manipulate you. Yeah, I know you smiling, but you didn't experience that. Just like I have. They blood when it's convenient. But like, dang, this is my cousin, I can do this. But dang, cousin, if I need something, you ain't there for me. But whenever I got something, you always there. So I just think like
Yeah.
that's the beauty in it when you just find out like the people that's really there for you. I've seen people that you thought was really there for you, you don't hear from them when you go through something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, like you know what I'm going through, like, and you ain't there. I've seen people who you know, showed me their true colors, and I might have been doubting this person. I was like, man, I've been doubting this person. This was the only one that was really there when I really needed them. So
Right.
you just figure out a lot of people though. Like of a cousin who recently had a death on her other side of the family, and she was talking about like how people said they was gonna do this for them and they're gonna do that, and then when it came time to do it, they didn't answer the phone when they called. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
it's like you just find out a lot of things, and like that's the thing about situations like that. Like you don't know who really down for you until you really know who
Mm-hmm.
down for you. Anybody can be there when the getting is good. Anybody can be there when everything's going looking good and feeling good. But are you
Right.
be there through the hard times? That's the, and that's when you really need people. When it's all good, who you really need when everything is good. You know what I'm saying? You need
Mm.
people when everything go bad. Like I just look at me like in my life, like having losses as far as like even in my career.
Definitely.
Even when I was going through like a tough financial situation, like, and
Mm-hmm.
like even still being in rebuilding mode right now. I just look at the people that was there, like, and I think about the people that I was actually there for, because you don't ever want to be that friend that only call when you need something, or only people you only hear about when you need something. I never wanted to be that person. You know,
Right.
I got plenty of people that call and they just convince of me. But I also learned like when I went through what I went through, I found that those people weren't there for me like I was there for them, and they heard it. That's painful. The end of a friendship,
Mm-hmm.
what we talked about on earlier
Oh
podcasts.
yeah.
The end of relationships. That could be as painful as a death. That could be and the thing that's so painful about that is it's like losing somebody that's alive. What I'm saying? There's
Mm-hmm.
one thing when you lose somebody that here, but you done lost somebody that's alive. Like somebody you can actually drive down the street. I see that person still out there. And
Yep.
I'll be looking at some people like, damn, this was a person I was actually in love with. This was a person that was my
Right.
friend I would have rode for. And like now it's like it's nothing. So it's
Exactly.
like so that's the thing, man. Sometimes a death is not even just a physical death. Sometimes it's a death of a relationship, and that stuff
Mm-hmm.
is painful. And then,
Totally. Yeah,
and then
totally.
you gotta deal with that like you deal with a death in some kind of ways. The only thing is you
And
can still
then
see that person.
yes, and then I want you to share as a creator. You create different various types of content. Clearly, touch on when you experience something like that, how it stifles your process, and then
Mm,
getting back to
wow, that's an excellent question
yeah.
because this book that the viewers see
Mhm.
called Gritty, a Detroit story. I finished this book as far as the writing. I finished this. The official date was uh, I believe it was Halloween or the day before Halloween of
Mhm.
2021. Uh, 7 days later, I went to go see my grandmother, and I got sick and found out I got COVID. Next day, I found
Mhm.
out she had it, and 3 weeks later, she was gone.
Wow.
So I finished writing my book. I was proud I finished writing it, and so this book right here has been done for like 2.5 years.
Mhm.
It has been on the shelf because I'm going through things in my life dealing with losing my grandma, and it took me a while. Like I used to go there every week, a couple times a week, just to be with her because she lived with my cousin, and so she still had family there, But people know that I was I don't even say people know I was the grandchild she was super crazy about because with me it was never can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? It was what can I do for you when I went over there?
Yeah.
So my approach was different. Everybody else trying to get her out of stuff, and I'm
Mm.
there like, what can I help you with? She
Mhm.
said, I ain't got nothing to talk about. Next thing you know, grandma done talk my ear off about everything. I ain't got nothing to talk about. They say, yeah, I got and every time that was our thing. I would take
Yeah.
soul food over there. I would take soul food over there with her. And
Mhm.
she used to like she's like to eat the collard greens and all that. So that was our thing,
Yeah.
A significant amount of time. I spent a whole lot of time with my grandma, a whole lot of time, and I just remember like that kind of like just stopped my process. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
just trying to like take my book to get it edited. I didn't care.
Right.
I think from that day, it took me a whole another year to go back to this book. Like literally,
Okay.
probably even longer than that, just to go back and reread it again. I knew it was done. I was like, because I went through so much stuff like that. I was, dealing with stuff in the career field, and I had lost my
Mhm.
grandma, and it was just real tough. I just remember the first time I went over there after she was already gone. I didn't go in the house. I just stood
Mhm.
outside. I didn't even step. I didn't even. I did step on the porch, but I just looked at it and I was like, my grandma is not in there.
Yeah.
And it was like I was like, that's some weird shit. I did not go in that house, and I told my cousin I garnered up enough courage to ask my cousin. I said, "Go get me the obituary." Because in my mind, I'm trying to think like, no, this ain't real. You know what I'm saying? This can't be real.
Mhm.
When she brought that out, and I saw a picture of my grandma on the obituary, and it had that sunrise and sunset, and like
Mhm.
it just tore me up inside. Like
Yeah.
it really tore me up. So I'm like, man, this shit is real. Excuse me, Jen. I don't mean to cuss, but I was like, this is really real. Like,
Mhm.
that was hard. That was hard for me to accept. I still got the pictures. I was looking at us on me on the me on the porch, her on the porch, and me kissing her in the picture and stuff like that. And it was like,
Mhm.
I still remember the Mother's Day where she Uncle had bought us some Marachi shoes. I had her some gym shoes. That was funny to us. To see her actually have on some gym shoes. She's like, no, I don't want to wear no gym shoes. But it was just cute, just to see that, like those memories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just that just killed my creative process. It killed my desire to do Black Man Talk. I went away from that for a long time as well. I'm still just really trying to get back into that.
Okay.
I
So
really am.
yeah, you definitely understand then.
Yeah.
So you would say don't rush it, or what would you say?
I say don't rush it because the thing is, I think I need to take as much time as I need. Sometimes, so believe it or not, sometimes you might have to take a couple years. I
Okay.
mean, some people like, wow, man, that's too long. You gotta. I said, because me, I've tried to come back with Black Man Talk multiple times on my podcast, and I
Mm-hmm.
released a couple episodes, and then it just fell apart again. You know,
Hmm.
just because of what I'm dealing with. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to be inconsistent to your viewers because I notice like when I'm inconsistent, like I'm not getting as many views as I once was. They're like, okay, you know, some people may have a, don't even look forward to it no more. And so you gotta get
Yeah.
back and rebuild. But it's just like it's hard, man. Like life throws you blows, and you know you got to take the bitter with the sweet. But you got to take care of yourself. You
That
know,
is so true. Yeah, I'm
you can
sitting
get
here
another.
thinking,
You can get more fans. You can build. You can get like
right.
you can build more your podcast back up. You got to start from zero again. But if you don't take care of yourself, then that ain't gonna matter because you gotta take care of you before you can take care of anything else. You know how you gonna be there for somebody else? You can't be there for yourself. Like I mean, that's just fundamentals.
That's true. And I was feeling horrible and tore up about going several months without having a episode go out. And you're talking about years here.
No, literally,
So yeah.
literally. Because I mean, I think about it, like I started a podcast in December 2018, and I
Hmm.
was consistent for it was like basically what's that like 3 whole years. I was dropping episode every Monday. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, everyone dropping it every Monday. And then it's like these last 2.5 years, I dropped like a few episodes, literally, just a few episodes.
Hmm.
Like I've touched my book. I got back to finally touching my book last year, but it's just it's hard to get back into that. Like 'cause it's like it's like you it's like a new you, but it's a new reality when you lost someone. It's like
It
that's
is.
because I remember reading my first book I wrote. I remember reading that to her up there in her room, and I'm showing her which character was her in the book and everything. It was like
Mm.
it was special there, you know, and
Yeah.
just knowing that just knowing that she saw her grandson do a lot. Like she saw me, she was at every single graduation I've had, every
Hmm.
single she was there. You know, we had this thing in Detroit called downtown. It was called the People Mover. It's like this little train to go downtown in Detroit, like take us to places, and that was our thing when we was little. She would take me downtown. We go on the People Mover. I used to run
Hmm.
the house when I had to play outside, and I get all kind of popsicles and all kind of stuff. It's like I was thinking about all those things. Like man, like this, damn, like my grandma really gone. It took me out of things, and
Hmm.
I dealt with a lot of stuff like betrayal earlier in that year. You know, even a relationship that didn't work. And
Hmm.
people you find out people not really who you think they are. And, that was so that was a lot to deal, and it's just like they ended that way. It was like I was like okay, I'm recovering for this, then I'm healing from this and all that. Boom, then you take my grandma away from me.
Hmm.
It's like damn, you know what I'm saying? Like she was there to me, with me through that process and all that stuff, and it's just like it just hurt it. It just hurt it real bad, and I'm thinking like all kind of stuff, like stuff that don't even make sense. Like even when she passed and couldn't see her at the hospital, I felt guilty about that because I'm still sick and I can't get out and see her because it's during COVID time. Then I'm thinking about even when she passed away. I'm thinking about my grandma, you know, being in the morgue and it's cold and she's cold down there, but she's
Mm.
gone. She can't feel that. It's like it was just all kind of stuff you was thinking about. I'm thinking about like anytime I acted up, you know, anytime I acted up, it's just like a lot of stuff you deal with. Like come on, like you just gotta forgive yourself, and that's.
Mhm.
And I was a good grandson too. I just think like any little thing I did, I thought was wrong. Like, hey man, I wish I would have spent a little bit more time with her, but I spent a lot of time with her. But you always like maybe I could have spent more. I went over a couple days a week. Maybe what I went over there every day.
Right.
You just like you just know it's just it's hard. It's hard. Like that's why I say you gotta you gotta you gotta take time out for yourself. Like uh, everybody different. Everybody handle things differently. That's why I don't think now I do think some of us are a little stronger than others. Some of us can recover a little quicker. And
Yeah.
I think my process was good, but I just think at that time I was dealing with a whole lot. Like it's just like a lot was going on in my life,
Right.
and it wasn't like I was never used no drugs. Went on no drugs. Never used that.
Mhm.
Wasn't
Mhm.
alcoholic. Never drunk alcohol. None of that. So it was just me processing that, and it just that took me away from my process for quite some time. Like I was
Mhm.
very active, like for years, and it's just like it was hard coming back from. It's still hard.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you just have to take care of yourself first, and then the content will come. Obviously you're sitting on content, and when you are better, you'll be in the right headspace to put it out there, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what? To me, I feel like it helps me, dealing with everything. Let me create something. Let me do something. I need to be doing something. I don't want to just sit.
I
So,
feel you on that, Jen, because like everybody process is different. Because the
mhm.
weird thing is like the time of my first book when I dropped in 2020, officially in 2020 on April 4th, Black Boy Rise. Now in 2019, when I was writing that book, when I was writing that book, I was going through a tough time then, but that was my process then. Why I
Right.
stopped writing that book because I was going through something hard, and I wrote that book, and that's what got me through that. But then a few years later, that same process probably wasn't going to work,
Yeah.
because of what I went through. But in a way, when I really look at it, I was going through the same thing when I wrote the book. So
Okay.
I wrote the book Gritty. It'll be out in a couple months. I wrote that book when I was going through something similar, you know, as what I was going through in 2019 when I was
Okay.
writing Black Boy Rock. So it was a similar process. But what
Yeah.
happened with the difference between those books is like right after I finished Gritty, my grandma passed away.
Mm.
That didn't happen, with Black Boy Rise. That didn't happen with that because who knows if that happened? Hell, I mean, that Black Boy Rise probably just came out maybe just last year. So,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it was different. Gritty had been done for a couple of years, and it's just like that happened, and that's just like devastating because I'm already going through a hard time, and then losing my grandma was damn near like a death blow. Because I always say the only two constants I ever had in my life was my mama and my paternal grandmother. Because I'm the ones who always been there through my entire life, from childhood to adulthood. Like the ones I look at it's like the ones that's like my fixtures, the ones that's like my fortresses, the ones that I know that's always gonna be there. And so when I
Mhm.
lost my paternal grandmother, like I said, my grandma's an equal, but I had her so much longer. And for her to
Mhm.
go, it's like all I got is you now, mama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as that one I know that's like they love me more than anybody else. That's gonna be there for me more than anybody else. It's just you now because now my grandma's gone.
Right.
So that was a lot to deal with.
Oh no, for sure, for sure. And I appreciate you sharing that as a creator, your perspective. I appreciate that. And so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Anything to share? So your podcast is not live right now to pull up the old ones, or the old ones out there?
No, my podcast is live right now. Just
Oh, it's
I
the YouTube, right?
yeah, it's YouTube. It's just like
Okay, so we
yeah,
can still go to Spotify and things like that.
yeah. It's just
Okay.
I just don't put them back. I just trying to like hit some older episodes. Just
Okay.
when I was
Okay.
like not because nothing's wrong with it. It was just me thinking during that time. Were you thinking about like, do I want to even put myself out here like this anymore? or do I just want to put stuff out like that? So that's the thing when you're going through stuff, like when you're going through stuff and you're vulnerable and you're in pain, like, man, I'm like, should I even talk about all my business like that? But I know what my podcast is intended for. So it's like an ongoing process of figuring out what do I want to put out there anymore. But
Right.
I put a lot out on here today. So it's just like,
Yeah.
and I don't feel bad or guilty about it. The thing is, when you're going through something and you put yourself out there and you feel that the people that came into your life took advantage of you because of the things they knew that was out there or the things they knew about you, it kind of changes you. It kind of makes you think about things like, should I do this? Should I do that? But then you think about, well, I'm smarter now, I'm wiser now. I know what to look for. I know what not to look for. So now, even if I'm putting stuff out there, I know the signs now.
Okay. All right. Well, I do appreciate you again for being here, Trey, on this topic. And please come back and join me again for other topics. That would be wonderful.
Will do.
Okay, sounds great. And you guys, we will have links to the Spotify episodes where you can check out Black Man Talk, which is a really great podcast. It has some really great episodes out there and great interviews with some authors and just Black business owners. There's one out there with me too. So yeah, check that out. So let's support our content creators in this podcast game. We definitely have to support each other, especially when we're going through things. You never know what someone's going through, right? So we, as a creator, we appreciate that support. So with that, you guys take care. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out and also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.